Released in 1993 by Cyan, MYST is a landmark in the history of video games, not only because of its commercial success, but also for how it defied conventional gaming norms of the time. Known for its atmospheric design and mysterious storyline, it sparked a heated debate regarding its classification. Is MYST a traditional game? Is it an interactive novel or a walking simulator? A slideshow? Or perhaps a groundbreaking new form of immersive multimedia interactive entertainment? To understand its legacy, we must first explore these different perspectives and examine MYST in the context of its time, ultimately understanding its role as a bridge to the modern era of open-world 3D gaming. So join me in this Retro Gaming Boss retrospective to answer the question, what is MYST? Before we dive into it, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is always here for a quick retro gaming break, whenever you need it. I appreciate your support, since it's the only way YouTube will highlight my videos. From a traditional perspective, MYST is a game. It incorporates elements such as puzzles, exploration, and a goal to be completed, key aspects commonly found in other games. Players control an unnamed protagonist, who, after discovering a mysterious book, is transported to the world of MYST. The player navigates different environments, solves puzzles, and uncovers pieces of a cryptic narrative. The game's progression depends entirely on the player's ability to solve these puzzles, unlocking new areas and ultimately the secrets of the island. However, unlike most contemporary games that were heavily action-oriented or had more immediate gameplay feedback loops, MYST focused on slow, deliberate exploration and observation, and logic-driven problem-solving. It was more about discovery than traditional power-ups or combat challenges, leading some to argue that MYST redefined what it meant to be a game. The absence of enemies in a linear progression system might suggest that MYST is less of a conventional game and more of an exploration in an interactive, puzzle-based world. Another common perspective is that MYST is akin to an interactive novel. In fact, its narrative structure and delivery method were deeply influenced by traditional storytelling. The plot, centered around your exploration of the island, is presented in a highly minimalistic manner. There are no long dialogues or cutscenes. Instead, the story unfolds through books found scattered across the island. Each book transports the player to a new distinct world where specific narratives unfold. The way that MYST delivers its story, through environmental clues, written text, and visual exploration and observation, draws direct parallels with how a novel might present an unfolding plot. The puzzles themselves serve as metaphors for deciphering the narrative. Each puzzle solved reveals a different part of the mystery, and players gradually uncover the fate of the island's inhabitants. From this perspective, MYST resembles an interactive novel with how it prioritizes atmosphere, mood, and intellectual engagement over fast-paced action or combat. Another perspective on MYST is that it is, in essence, just a slideshow of sorts. MYST is composed of pre-rendered, still images that players click through to move through the game world. The game's design was limited by the small memory footprint of video game consoles and by the slow speed of CD-ROM drives at the time of its release. The game was created on Apple Macintosh computers and ran on the HyperCard software stack, though ports to other platforms subsequently required the creation of a new engine. The static nature of the environments led some to discount MYST as little more than an animated slideshow where each location is a picture that can be clicked on to explore. And while it's true that MYST relied on static images, the way those images were designed and utilized was far more innovative than a mere slideshow. The still images were meticulously crafted to create a vivid, immersive experience. The game's carefully constructed environments allowed the player to feel like they were truly exploring a new world, despite the lack of real-time graphics. The attention to detail in the scenes, combined with the haunting music and subtle animations, made each location feel alive, transcending the limitations of its still images. Thus, while the game's visual style might seem primitive by today's standards, it was groundbreaking for its time. Perhaps the most accurate description of MYST is that it represents the beginning of immersive multimedia interactive entertainment. It combined stunning visuals, an atmospheric soundtrack, intricate puzzles, and narrative storytelling in a way that felt unique and novel for its time. At its core, MYST invited players into a world that was both puzzling and enchanting, where exploration was rewarded with new discoveries and environmental storytelling. The combination of its intricately detailed graphics, engaging puzzles, and an eerie, desolate environment created a sense of immersion that few games have achieved at that time. For many, MYST represented a playable glimpse at the future of gaming, in a form of entertainment that engaged players on an emotional and intellectual level. When MYST was released in 1993, the world of video gaming was dominated by platforms like the Super Nintendo Entertainment System and Sega Genesis, both of which had limited graphical capabilities. Back at that time, the gaming industry was primarily focused on action-oriented, sprite-based games, and 3D graphics were still in their infancy. The typical gaming experience was fast-paced, with arcade-style games or platformers that had players navigate levels, fight enemies, and collect items. In such a landscape, MYST was nothing short of revolutionary. Its use of pre-rendered still images, combined with its challenging puzzles and atmospheric setting, was a stark departure from the prevalent trends. The game's focus on exploration and story-driven gameplay, with no combat or enemies, was not only different from the prevailing games at the time, but also foreshadowed future trends in gaming, particularly the emphasis on immersive environments and player choice. Additionally, MYST was one of the first games to take advantage of CD-ROM technology. It required more storage space than traditional cartridge-based games, and used the medium to store the game's stunning graphics and music. This allowed for a level of detail and depth in both the visual design and sound that was previously unattainable in console games. The use of CD-ROMs, as well as the shift to a more open-ended, exploratory form of gameplay, would become a hallmark in future gaming experiences. These factors explain it being the best-selling PC game for nearly a decade, with sales topping 6 million copies. Its success also helped drive the adoption of CD-ROM drives and popularize CD-based video games, showcasing the difference between games on that medium compared to the storage limitations found on floppy disks or cartridges. While there had been attempts at open-world games before, MYST set the stage for the modern era of immersive 3D environments. Though the game itself was not truly open-world in the modern sense, it was one of the first titles to allow players to freely explore large, interconnected environments at their own pace. The sense of freedom and discovery that MYST offered would later influence games like the Elder Scrolls series and other modern open-world games that prioritize exploration and immersion. So in conclusion, MYST was not just a game, but a revolutionary experience that redefined what video games could be. It blurred the line between games, interactive novels, and multimedia art, paving the way for the expansive, immersive gaming experiences of the 21st century. Its release marked a turning point in the history of video games, helping to bridge the gap between traditional, action-oriented games of the past and the open-world, interactive experiences of the present day, by offering an experience that was as much about atmosphere, exploration, and story as it was about puzzles. MYST proved that video games could be both intellectually engaging and artistically profound. But that's just what I think. What did you think about MYST back in the day? Are there any games from that time that had a similar impact? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. And don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. If you're new here, I'd like to welcome you to the channel and invite you to subscribe for more feel-good retro gaming content. Alright everyone, this is the Retro Gaming Boss signing out, reminding you to keep the games old school and to keep exploring. I really appreciate you watching and all your support, and I'll see you on the next one. I remember playing Doom in 1993 for the first time and being absolutely blown away, not just by the game itself, but by how different everything felt back then. The intensity and innovation of the game and the amount of sheer effort it took just to get it running. Today, we're traveling back to 1993 to rip and tear our way through what it was really like to experience Doom. Not the remake from 2016, but the original DOS version in all of its raw and unfiltered glory. Right now, you can buy Doom, download it, and be chainsawing imps within minutes. But in 1993, just getting Doom onto your computer was a bit of a mission itself. First, you had to track down a copy of those magical 2 shareware diskettes. Remember those? Just a taste of the game, teasing you with only the first few levels. No full campaign, just enough to get you hooked. And then, gotta buy the full version, they said. And multiplayer? Forget click and play. You almost needed a computer science degree, a prayer, and a LAN cable longer than your patience. But when it finally worked, pure magic. This, my friends, was PC gaming in 1993. No hand-holding, no instant gratification. Just you, your computer, and the thrill of making it work. So let's rewind and relive the era when booting up Doom felt less like starting a game and more like spending your day at NASA's Mission Control. You see, Doom wasn't just another game, it was a revelation. Before this, we had platformers and the like, and some pretty basic 3D adventures. Doom, it was fast, violent, and terrifyingly immersive. I first heard about it from friends at work who couldn't stop raving about it a little too much, I thought, about the demons, shotguns, and plasma rifles, and the enemies exploding into pixelated gore. Back in '93, it almost felt taboo, like something we shouldn't be messing around with. And watching them play was hypnotic. The eerie atmosphere, the relentless pace. I didn't know whether to be amazed or scared. But one thing was certain, I had to play it myself. And let's not forget, Doom wasn't just made, it was forged by legends. John Carmack's genius coding tapped into the power of home PCs, inventing programming methods to make the 3D world run on 90s hardware. John Romero's level design was sadistically brilliant, crafting mazes that felt like playgrounds from hell. Together with the rest of id Software, they crunched the hours, fueled by heavy metal, as they rewrote the rules of gaming. Modding? Doom invited it. Speedrunning? That was born here. Id didn't just make a hit. They created a culture, and 30 years later, we're still living in it. Now before we dive deeper, if you're enjoying this nostalgia trip, consider subscribing. Your support helps me keep these retro throwbacks going. Now back to 1993. Getting Doom running on your home PC felt like a quest in itself. Step 1, the shareware discs. Just 5 levels. A demo by today's standard. But back then, it was everything. I can't even tell you how many times I played through those levels over and over again. Of course, 5 levels weren't enough. So I saved up, drove to the computer store, and came home with a full set of install discs. Each one was a gamble, and you'd keep your fingers crossed and hold your breath as you wondered to yourself, would it complete the install or fail halfway through? And then came the hardware hurdles. Did your PC even stand a chance? A 66 megahertz CPU? 8 whole megabytes of RAM? A 16-bit sound card? Sheesh. I was a starving college student at the time, but luckily was able to commandeer my dad's computer he used for business. Little did he know that late at night, when I was supposed to be studying, I'd use it to open a portal to hell. Well, he probably did. Sorry, Dad. And when the setup was finally completed and actually worked, oh man. He waited for the ridiculously long Windows boot sequence to complete, and then fumbled around for a while with the WASD controls, getting used to your left hand on the keyboard and mouse on your right. And then you were right in the middle of the action. All the deafening shotgun blasts, the demonic groans, and the buckets full of adrenaline. I'd crank up the volume when my parents weren't home, half terrified they'd walk in and see me grinning in delight from ear to ear in the midst of all of the carnage. And if the single-player mayhem wasn't enough, then came multiplayer. LAN parties weren't just simple plug-and-play affairs. They were arcane rituals to the gaming gods. IPX settings, whatever those were, tangled cables, and sometimes hours of troubleshooting. But when it clicked, chaos and absolute glory. I once even skipped my uni class just to get fragged in multiplayer something like 412 times to a measly 32 of my own. And even though I sucked, playing it together with friends was unforgettable, and we loved every second of the action. And that music, the heavy metal and industrial soundtrack, raw like the powerful sounds of Alice in Chains cranked through a demonic amplifier. It really made the game. Without it, Doom just wouldn't have felt the same. Now for a quick break, if you're loving this, check out the description below for a playlist of more retro gaming deep dives. And the rest is history. As you surely know, Doom wasn't just a game, it was the start of a revolution that defined FPS games forever. Every shooter today owes it, well, just about everything. It proved PCs weren't just for spreadsheets, they were gateways to demon slaying. And I'll always wear it as a badge of honor to have witnessed it all firsthand back in the day. And even though today you can play Doom on your phone or even a smart refrigerator, back in '93 it was blood, sweat, and tears, blue screens of death included. So next time you load it up, take a second to appreciate how far we've come, and maybe thank those dusty little diskettes that started it all. So if you've enjoyed this trip down memory lane, smash that like button, share it with your fellow retro gamers, and subscribe for more. What was your first Doom memory? Let me know in the comments. And if you're new here, welcome to my channel. I'd like to invite you to subscribe for more feel-good retro gaming content. Alright my friends, this is the Retro Gaming Boss signing off, reminding you to keep your games old school. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Did you ever stop for a moment when playing Morrowind and just take in the stunning locations? The island of Vardenfell, a land of towering mushrooms, ancient ruins, and giant cities, is a breathtaking and mysterious region in Tamriel. For the adventurous traveler, no journey is complete without witnessing its surreal landscapes and delving into the lore behind its wonders. Every corner of Morrowind offers something unforgettable, and in this video, we'll embark on a visual journey through the game's most captivating locations, uncovering the details that make them unforgettable. Our expedition begins in the awe-inspiring Vivec City, a grand metropolis built upon a series of massive cantons rising out of the water. Named after the living god Vivec, this city is a testament to Dunmeri ingenuity. The city is a collection of 9 artificial islands, each a separate district housed in multi-tiered buildings the size of a small town. Numerous bridges and walkways between the cantons form a maze that could be intimidating for new arrivals. Water is the dominant element throughout the architecture, present even inside. The entire city of Vivec is considered a holy place and is home to the Lord Vivec himself. The High Fane is at the heart of the Tribunal Temple, and the city is policed by special guards drawn from the militant order of the temple, the Ordinators. The Palace of Vivec gleams with golden adornments, while the foreign quarter bustles with merchants and travelers from across Tamriel. But the most striking sight of all is Bar Dao, more commonly known as the Ministry of Truth, a massive, hollowed-out rock suspended impossibly above the city, a grim reminder of the divine punishment that looms over the faithful. According to legend, Vivec himself halted its fall, leaving it frozen in time hanging above the city as a reminder that if its people ever ceased to love him, the massive boulder would fall and destroy them. Before we pack up and move on to our next destination, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is always here for a quick retro gaming break, whenever you need it. I appreciate your support, since it's the only way YouTube will highlight my videos and help my channel to grow. Leaving the city behind, we venture north into the ashy wasteland toward the Ghost Fence, an immense shield wall surrounding the crater of the Red Mountain. Created to contain the Blight and Corpus monsters, it's sustained by the Tribunal's combined powers. Its massive pillars channel the holy energies of the Tribunal and the spirits of the deceased, converting them into a great, impenetrable shield. Beyond the fence, the land is twisted and hostile, proof of the dark god Dagoth Ur's power. After braving our way through the intense dust storms, the Ghost Gate appears like a mirage and is a welcome respite from the harsh elements. The Ghost Gate itself is a large tribunal temple, with contingents of both buoyant armigers and ordinators. The two towers of Ghost Gate, called Dusk and Dawn respectively, were constructed after the War of the First Council as one of the many defenses against the evils of Dagoth-Ur. This oasis against the brutality of the Red Mountain is a welcome place of safety for travelers to heal before their onward journey into the heart of the Red Mountain to Dagoth-Ur's sanctum itself. Traveling a short distance westward, we arrive at Alderun, a city unlike any other. Here, the great houses have built their homes within the colossal hollowed-out shell of a long-dead emperor land crab known as Scar, its massive carapace serving as the roof of the Redorun City Hall. The interior is a labyrinth of chitin and resin, lit by the warm glow of lanterns. Outside, the wind howls across the ash plains as the weather in Alderun is under heavy influence of the nearby Red Mountain, and daily ash storms bring the threat of the blight right to the doorstep. Guard towers overlook the city, and the guards, clad in traditional bone mold armor, are always on alert to kill the occasional stray cliff racer. We continue our journey deep within the northern Ashlands region to a hidden cave of profound significance, the Cavern of the Incarnate. The cavern is located in the Valley of the Wind, a J-shaped voyada, and can only be entered when Azure Star is visible at dusk and dawn. This sacred site is the resting place of failed Nerovarine candidates, their mortal remains formed in a circle within this holy grotto. The air is thick with the weight of prophecy, and ghostly voices murmur forgotten oaths. At the cavern center is the statue of Azura, where you obtain the ring, Moon and Star, a powerful artifact necessary to complete the main quest. Upon taking the ring, Azura unveils a vision of your path ahead to become the true Nerovarine. The spectral apparitions then appear of the 6 failed incarnates, with whom you can converse and hear their tales. Standing in this hallowed ground puts you at the crossroads of destiny, where the past and the future collide. Before we continue, if you enjoy this video, I've put a link in the description below of a playlist of all of my other content that you might also enjoy, so check it out and stick around for a while. Next, we set sail far to the eastern coast, where the Telvanni wizard lords rule from their towering organic spires in Sadrith Mora, which is Dark Elvish for Forest of the Mushrooms. This is the district seat of the House Telvanni and home of the Telvanni Council. The most impressive structure is Tel Naga, a colossal fungal tower where the reclusive Master Naloth conducts his arcane experiments. The air here is scented with fungal spores, and the glow of bioluminescent plants casts an eerie light on the winding pathways. While visitors are technically not supposed to travel beyond the gateway into the city, nobody really seems to mind. Anyone will serve you, albeit a bit tersely. One place where foreigners are especially welcomed is at the Imperial Fort, Wolverine Hall, just to the south. Before moving on to our final destination, throughout your travels you'll undoubtedly observe that Morrowind is chock full of beauty in its unscripted, spontaneous moments that just happen organically and make the world feel alive. Whether it's watching the first light of dawn slowly stretch over the jagged horizon, bathing the alien landscape in soft amber hues, or hearing the symphonic score rise up to a majestic crescendo as you traverse the vast, untamed wilderness, the world constantly surprises with its innate beauty. These unplanned, yet somehow perfectly timed moments create a sense of immersion that's a sight to behold. It's the quiet awe of witnessing a howling ash storm pass through the volcanic lands, or the peace of standing still as the wind rustles through the towering mushrooms of the fungal forests. Even the sound of rain and thunder create a feeling of loneliness and isolation when exploring far from civilization. In Morrowind, these unpredictable interactions between the environment, music, and your very presence make every journey feel uniquely personal. There's also something captivating about watching the moons rise over the horizon as night falls. As the twin moons, Maser and Secunda, slowly climb into the inky sky,
The quiet of the night is broken only by the hum of distant wind, while the ambient music swells into a delicate orchestral lullaby, perfectly matching the tranquil mood. These fleeting moments form a perfect harmony and wonder, and seem as if the world itself is pausing to breathe, and make every nightfall in Morrowind worth treasuring. No pilgrimage through Morrowind is complete without a visit to the Shrine of Azura, the Daedric Prince of Dawn and Dusk. Located on the southeastern tip of Ardenfell, one of the few Daedric shrines that is still perfectly intact. Perched atop a peak jutting out of the surrounding waters, the shrine is a breathtaking sight, a glorious monument to Azura herself, arms outstretched, holding the sun and moon, as if blessing the land below. Pilgrims whisper that Azura watches over her followers from here, and those who offer prayers at her shrine may receive visions of fate yet to come. It's a long journey indeed to this remote shrine, which requires some climbing and swimming to reach, so levitation or water walking spells will be most helpful. If you activate the statue of Azura inside the shrine, you'll be given a quest to earn Azura's Star, a precious and reusable soul gem. As we conclude our sightseeing tour from the divine heights of Vivec City to the haunted wastes of Red Mountain, Vardenfell is a land of contrasts, beautiful yet perilous, ancient yet ever-changing. Each location tells a story, whether through the whispers of the ghost fence, the peaceful gaze of Azura's shrine, or the echoing prophecies in the cavern of the Incarnate. For those brave enough to explore its depths, Morrowind offers unforgettable sights, landscapes, and ethereal moments unlike anywhere else in Tamriel. So pack your supplies, ready your spells, and set forth. Adventure awaits in the strangest and most wondrous land of all. What other sights and places in Vardenfell do you think are worth revisiting? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your views. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. And if you're new here, I'd like to welcome you to the channel and invite you to subscribe for more feel-good retro gaming content. Alright my friends, this is the Retro Gaming Boss signing out, reminding you to keep your games old school. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Deus Ex is a classic action role-playing game set in a dystopian cyberpunk future that struck chords with gamers for its blending of conspiracy theories, technology, and politics. Released on the PC in the year 2000, it quickly became one of the most influential video games of its time as an immersive sim with a thought-provoking narrative. Set in the year 2052, it portrays a society deeply divided by technological advancements and shadowy conspiracies. This game really blew my mind the first time I played it, and it's remarkable how many of its themes and predictions resonate with the state of the world in 2025. This game is unique since it makes you as the player confront issues like widespread government surveillance, the rise of powerful multinational corporations, and ethical dilemmas surrounding human augmentation. So put on your tinfoil hat and join me in this Retro Gaming Boss look back at the original Deus Ex as we answer the question if it accurately predicted the future world of 2025. Before we dive into it, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is always here for a quick retro gaming break whenever you need it. I appreciate your support, since it's the only way that YouTube will highlight my videos. Deus Ex portrays a society where surveillance is omnipresent and privacy is a scarce commodity. The game takes place in a world where governments and corporations monitor individuals at every turn, using surveillance technology to control and manipulate the population. A major plotline revolves around the government program, which has the capability to control citizens through invasive technologies like brain implants, nanotechnology, and a vast surveillance infrastructure. Characters in the game frequently discuss the implications of living in such a controlled world, where personal freedom is traded for safety and stability. Fast forward to 2025, and surveillance has become a central issue in modern-day societies. The rise of ubiquitous technologies like facial recognition, artificial intelligence, and the constant tracking of individuals via smartphones and social media platforms has led to a widespread concern over privacy. Government agencies and tech giants hold vast amounts of data on individuals, often with little real oversight. the debate over the balance between security and personal freedom is just as relevant today as it was in Deus Ex. The game's portrayal of a society under constant surveillance has, unfortunately, become a reality that we grapple with in 2025.
Some people just don't understand the dangers of indiscriminate surveillance.
Another key prediction in Deus Ex was the increasing power of multinational corporations and their ability to shape global events. In the game, powerful entities like UNATCO, the United Nations Anti-Terrorist Coalition, and the global pharmaceutical company VersaLife wield more influence than many sovereign governments, controlling both the economy and flow of information.
12.
Good. I was afraid you were going to tell me about the Illuminati.
They were once part of the Illuminati, but they rebelled.
Oh, I see.
The game paints a picture of a world where corporations, rather than elected governments, dictate the policies that affect people's lives. In the game's story, VersaLife is a prominent global megacorporation that plays a significant role in the overall plot. It's involved in several secretive, high-tech projects related to nanotechnology and human augmentation. The company is known for creating highly advanced and potentially dangerous biotechnology. VersaLife's actions have far-reaching consequences throughout the story, especially concerning human experimentation and the development of the Grey Death virus, a deadly biological weapon. But I don't think I can talk about the real-world version of this here on YouTube. Today, in 2025, corporate power has grown immensely, with big tech and big pharma companies holding unprecedented influence over both the global economy and daily life.
Single fact to put that up.
Number one, in 1945, corporations paid 50% of federal taxes. Now they pay about 5%. Number two, in 1900, 90% of Americans were self-employed. Now it's about 2%.
So?
It's called consolidation. Strengthen governments and corporations, weaken individuals. With taxes, this can be done imperceptibly over time.
The chief finally let us.
I guarantee you that the interrogation staff at UNATCO will not be as forbearing as I am.
Yeah, the secret police. You're just bullies for a completely illegitimate government in Washington.
We will locate that shipment one way or another.
The entire executive branch is handpicked. 19 of the last 23 U.S. presidents have been members of the Trilateral Commission. The Trilateral Commission is financed by the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. Don't tell me.
That's a think tank. Anyone can become a member.
But not everyone does. That's why they call it the secret government.
Many of these corporations have amassed wealth that rivals that of entire nations, and they influence politics, media, and the economy in ways that would have been unthinkable a few decades ago.
The wealthy have always been the ones to profit from one world government. The United Nations' secret goal... Well, this is David Rockefeller's description from a half a century ago. The supranational sovereignty of an intellectual elite and world bankers.
The concept of corporate oligarchies where companies shape policy and control public discourse is a reality that mirrors the dystopian vision of Deus Ex. Issues like data privacy, monopolistic behavior, and the influence of tech giants over elections have become major concerns in the real world, and the game's depiction of corporate dominance is increasingly relevant.
The UN was founded not to end war, but to gradually dissolve national governments and replace them with a globalist meritocracy. Average people never benefit from government and business on a scale they can't even understand.
The theme of human augmentation is another central aspect of Deus Ex and one of its most chilling predictions about the future. In the game, nanotechnology and mechanical implants are used to enhance human abilities, leading to a world where the wealthy and powerful can afford to augment their bodies to superhuman levels, creating a stark divide between the augmented and unaugmented. This division drives much of the game's plot, as various factions such as the Illuminati and the resistance group NSF clash over how to handle the ethics of human enhancement. The idea of human augmentation, once confined to science fiction, is now a topic of serious debate in 2025. Advances in biotechnology, genetic engineering, and neurotechnology have opened the door to possibilities once thought impossible. Companies like Elon Musk's Neuralink are actively working on brain-computer interfaces, while CRISPR gene editing technology holds the potential for altering human DNA. These advancements raise profound ethical questions about inequality, consent, and the nature of what it means to be human. Much like in Deus Ex, there are growing concerns that only the wealthy will have access to these technologies, exacerbating social divides and creating a post-human class that could further marginalize the disadvantaged.
Need I remind you that in the case of a national emergency, FEMA has a list of 6 million Americans who will be transported to detention centers? Your tabloids call it RX-84.
Yeah, including the President, Congress, and the Supreme Court.
In my position, I find it very easy to add names to that list.
Go to hell.
The game's exploration of these issues, including the ethical dilemmas surrounding augmentation, feels a bit too familiar today as debates over gene editing and human enhancement continue to unfold.
Come on in. The retinal scanner can read blood vessel patterns right through your sunglasses.
A final key element of Deus Ex is its depiction of a society in which trust in institutions, governments, corporations, and the media has eroded to the point of near collapse. The game presents a world where conspiracies are everywhere, and characters constantly question the motivations of the organizations they're aligned with. The notion that powerful groups are hiding the truth from the public is a constant theme, creating a deep sense of distrust in authority. In the year 2025, the decline of the trust in institutions is sadly a widespread issue. From growing skepticism about the effectiveness and honesty of governments to the rise of misinformation and fake news, public confidence in traditional sources of authority has been severely undermined.
Go in like the U.S. Marshals. We lose the vaccine, I'm sending your butt to the mayor to explain why he and his 3 daughters won't get their pills this month.
Yes, sir.
So in the final analysis, Deus Ex is a game that offers a bold and unnervingly accurate vision of the future, far ahead of its time. The game's predictions about the future were not so much prophecies as they were warnings, urging players to reflect on the direction in which society might be heading. As we move further into a world dominated by technology, corporations, and questions about personal freedoms and ethics, Deus Ex remains a timeless reflection on the potential consequences of unchecked power, and it continues to serve as a thought-provoking commentary on the world we inhabit today.
We have grown, but there is still much to be done. Many live in darkness that must be shown away, for it is the dawning of a new day.
But that's just what I think. What other themes or conspiracies did you notice in this masterpiece? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and if you're new here, I'd like to welcome you to the channel and invite you to subscribe for more feel-good retro gaming content. Alright everyone, this is the Retro Gaming Boss signing out, reminding you to keep your games old school and keep that tinfoil hat on nice and tight. I really appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
By the way, stay out of the ladies' restroom. That kind of activity embarrasses the agency more than it does you.
Released for the PC in 1986 by Sierra Online, Space Quest: The Sarian Encounter marked the very beginning of what would become a beloved series of space-themed adventure games known for their clever puzzles, witty humor, and unexpected challenges. As the player, you control Roger Wilco, a hapless space janitor who finds himself embroiled in a galactic adventure after accidentally stumbling into the role of an unlikely hero. However, it's not just the wacky plot that stands out. Space Quest is notorious for its unforgiving and humorous gameplay, which often rewards patience and careful observation, and absolutely punishes players with funny but cruel game-ending consequences for making even trivial mistakes along the way. When I was a kid, my brother and I used to play this game on our new Tandy 1000 PC for hours at a time, and we had so much fun solving the puzzles and interacting with the game world to move the story forward. Even though the graphics and gameplay are rudimentary by today's standards, and the music and sound effects are almost non-existent, this game still presents a colorful and creative art style that's just oozing with retro charm. If you had a chance to play this gem back in the day, then I'm sure you know what I mean. And if you haven't, then this video is especially for you. So sit back and share a laugh as we reminisce about the dark humor and quirky gameplay in this retro gaming boss review of the original Space Quest. Many PC games from the 80s were really tough and unforgiving, and unlike many of today's AAA video games that offer hand-holding tutorials and adjustable difficulty levels, Space Quest drops you into a hostile universe with virtually no instruction or guidance. As you walk around the game universe, nearly every step can lead to an accidental and untimely demise. The game's design encourages you to travel around different environments, explore, and interact with almost everything, but without much in the way of hints about what's safe and what isn't. From the very start, Roger Wilco's fate is often a dicey affair, with death lurking around every corner. The sheer number of ways you can die is really innovative. In the opening stage alone, you can be zapped by the ship's security lasers, explode in an unpressurized airlock, or even suffocate in space if you don't equip your spacesuit in time. This game teaches you the hard way the importance of paying attention to the environment, but also rewards your meticulous observations and problem-solving skills. Just be sure not to cross over that stone bridge too many times, and watch out for that creepy spider droid. Here's a few of my favorite ways that Roger Wilco can meet his maker. Despite the game's difficulty, Space Quest provides a sense of satisfaction and a real thrill when you finally solve a tricky puzzle and progress to the next challenge. The thing was, back in its day, there weren't any online game walkthroughs to help guide you through what to do, where to go, or how to survive. Heck, the internet as we know it today wasn't even a thing back in 1986, so your best bet would be to grab a pencil and paper and jot down the notes as you play that might help you make it a bit further next time. The game's design was so hardcore, it even allows you to save at points where you get stuck and are literally unable to progress further and have no other option than to start over. When this happens, it can feel really unfair. Even to this day, I'm really not sure whether it was some kind of development oversight or the limitation of technology from when these games were made. Sometimes, I even wonder if the developers were a bit twisted and sadistic, and thought it would be really funny to punk their players and make kids squirm in situations that they can't get out of. Good times. Fortunately, Space Quest uses a light-hearted approach of balancing out the harsh gameplay, which is its sarcastic humor. The game's smart-ass tone pokes fun at science fiction tropes, pop culture, and even video games themselves. While the writing is a bit cheesy nowadays, it still remains pretty sharp and clever, with an irreverent edge that helps soften the blow and makes you chuckle, even when you meet another untimely death. Roger Wilco is an endearing but mostly clueless character. He's an unassuming janitor whose bumbling personality makes his misadventures feel all the more comical. When he finds himself in ridiculous situations like getting stuck in a washing machine or tripping over his own 2 feet and blowing his undercover disguise, those moments create a much-needed and light-hearted point of contrast to the challenging gameplay. The game itself is set in an obvious parody of the Star Wars universe that's instantly recognizable from the game's intro music, spacecraft, laser blaster duels, and even a desert cantina complete with an alien band. The main antagonists in the game, the Sarian Empire, are a cartoonish, pixel version of the Emperor's Royal Guards that are ripped right out of Star Wars movies. One of the things I like most is that the game never takes itself too seriously and is more about experimenting with different approaches, and sometimes making stupid mistakes, but always having a good time in the process. I really appreciate how the story unfolds in a way that's both self-aware and ironic. At one point, the game even makes fun of its own pixelated graphics, with an in-game dialogue about its impressive graphics and realistic environments. It's moments like these where the game breaks the fourth wall, adding to Space Quest's unique charm and character. If you've played these types of old-school adventure games before, you'll be familiar with the text-based interface. I don't know about anyone else, but I must have tried typing in every bad word I could think of as a kid into the interface, but only received a dull response saying, "That does not compute." In any case, I'm actually really glad to have played this as a kid, since it motivated me to learn how to type on a keyboard, so thanks for that, Sierra. In the final analysis, Space Quest rewards your wits and patience, and gives you some chuckles throughout the process. Even though the gameplay can feel a bit rough, the hilarious narrative creates an engaging experience that still resonates with players today, both young and old. The game's popularity lives on, and it was even re-released in 2006, a full 20 years after the original, and includes a new slick graphics reskin and new story elements. Space Quest stands as one of the quintessential PC games of its era, because in the end, it's less about solving puzzles and more about embracing the comic absurdity and finding little moments of joy throughout the journey, no matter how many times you might die along the way. So if you played this retro classic back in the day, give me a thumbs up and drop a comment below about your favorite memories. Also be sure to subscribe and support this channel so I can bring you more videos of your favorite retro games. Alright my friends, this is the Retro Gaming Boss signing out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
City 17 in Half-Life 2 is a grim and urban landscape that immediately creates a sense of isolation and despair. As players step into the game's first level, they're greeted by a crumbling world under the authoritarian control of the alien Combine forces. The city feels suffocating. Its architecture is full of dilapidated Soviet-style structures that reflect the cold and controlling regime. The sky is perpetually overcast, casting a gray pall over the city. The presence of the Combine is felt everywhere, from the patrolling soldiers and surveillance drones to the eerie propaganda broadcasts. There's a palpable tension in the air, a sense that any attempt at rebellion is futile and that every corner is being watched. This atmosphere immediately thrusts you into a world where freedom has been crushed and survival is uncertain. This has got to be one of the greatest opening levels in any video game, so without further ado, I'm just going to let the game speak for itself as we return to City 17.
I didn't see you get on. This is my third transfer this year. Well, end of the line.
Welcome. Welcome to City 17. You have chosen or been chosen to relocate to one of our finest remaining urban centers. I thought so much of City 17 that I elected to establish my administration here in the citadel so thoughtfully provided by our benefactors. I've been proud to call City 17 my home. And so, whether you are here to stay or passing through on your way to parts unknown, welcome to City 17. It's safer here.
But this stuff, it's all I have left. All right, I'm moving. Jeez.
Were you the only ones on that train? Overwatch stopped our train in the woods and took my husband for questioning. They said he'd be on the next train.
Welcome.
I'm
Welcome
not sure
to
when that
City
was.
17.
They're being nice,
you have
though,
chosen
letting me wait
or
for
been
him.
chosen to relocate to one of our finest remaining urban centers. I thought so much of City 17 that I elected to establish my administration here in the city.
Don't drink the water. They put something in it to make you forget. I don't even remember how I got here.
And so,
But they're
whether
always,
you are here to
they're always
stay
departing,
or
but they never arrive.
passing through on
And
your
the ones
way
that do
to
arrive,
parts
they
unknown,
never leave. You
welcome
see them go, they're always
to
full.
City
No one
17.
ever gets on, but they're
It's
always
safer here.
They're always departing, but they never arrive. And the ones that do arrive. I see, they took your suitcase too. They can't get away with this much longer. I'm working up the nerve to go on. Wait a minute.
Welcome. Welcome to City 17. You have chosen or been chosen to relocate to one of our finest remaining urban centers. I thought so much of City 17 that I elected to establish my administration here in the citadel so thoughtfully provided by our benefactors.
This must be a mistake. I got a standard relocation coupon just like everybody else.
Some privacy for this.
About that beer I owed you. It's me, Gordon, Barney from Black Mesa. Hey, sorry for the scare. I had to put on a show for the cameras. I've been working undercover with civil protection. I can't take too long or they'll get suspicious. I'm way behind on my beating quota.
Yes, Barney, what is it? I'm in the middle of a critical test.
Sorry, Doc, but look who's here.
Great Scott! Gordon Freeman! I expected more warning.
Yeah, you and me both, Doc. He was about to board the express to Nova Prospect.
Well, Barney, what do you intend?
I'm thinking.
Alex is around here somewhere. She would have a better idea how to get him here.
Well, as long as he stays away from checkpoints, we should be okay. Listen, I gotta go, Doc. We're taking enough chances as it is.
Very well. And, Gordon, good to see you.
Okay, Gordon. You're gonna have to make your own way to Dr. Kleiner's lab. Oh, man, that's what I was afraid of. Get in here, Gordon, before you blow my cover. Pile up some stuff to get through that window and keep going till you're in the plaza. I'll meet up with you later.
Let me read a letter I recently received. Dear Dr. Green, why has the seen fit to suppress our reproductive science? Sincerely, concerned citizen. Thank you for writing. Sir. Of course, your question touches on one of the basic biological impulses, with all its associated hopes and fears for the
The line
future
starts
of
at the end.
species. I also detect some unspoken questions. Do our benefactors really know what's best for us? What gives them the right to make this kind of decision for mankind? Will they ever deactivate the suppression field and let us breed again?
You'll have to wait your turn like everybody else.
I don't know about you, but I'm ready to join civil protection just to get a decent meal.
Every possible question you might have left unvoiced. First, let us consider the fact that for the first time ever, as a species, immortality is in our reach. This simple fact has far-reaching implications. It requires radical rethinking and revision of our genetic imperatives. It also requires planning and forethought that run in direct opposition to our neural presets. I find it helpful at times like these to remind myself that our true enemy is instinct. Instinct was our mother when we were an infant species. Instinct coddled us and kept us safe in those hardscrabble years when we hardened our sticks and cooked our first meals above a meager fire and started at the shadows that leapt upon the cavern's walls. But inseparable from instinct is its dark twin, superstition. Instinct is inextricably bound to unreasoning impulses, and today we clearly see its true nature. Instinct has just become aware of its irrelevance. And like a cornered beast, it will not go down without a bloody fight. Instinct would inflict a fatal injury on our species. Instinct creates its own oppressors and bids us rise up against them. Instinct tells us that the unknown is a threat rather than an opportunity. Instinct slyly and covertly compels us away from change and progress. Instinct, therefore, must be expunged. It must be fought tooth and nail, beginning with the basest of human urges, the urge to reproduce. We should thank our benefactors for giving us respite from this overpowering force. They have thrown a switch and exercised our confidence in this world. They have given us the strength we never could have summoned to overcome this compulsion. They have given us purpose. They have turned our eyes toward the stars. Let me assure you that the suppressing field will be shut off on the day that we have mastered ourselves, the day we can prove we no longer need it. And that day of transformation, I have it on good authority, is close at hand.
This is how it always starts. First the building, then the whole block. They have no reason to come to our place. Don't worry, they'll find one.
I can't take it anymore.
Everything's gonna be okay.
What are we going to do?
We'll think of something.
Basic biological impulses, with all its associated hopes and fears.
When is it all going to end?
Don't worry.
Please.
Attention, residents. Miscounts detected in your block.
Hey, you!
Cooperation with your civil protection.
Head for the roof! There's no time to lose!
Rather the wall. Citizen notice. Priority identification check in progress. Assemble in your designated inspection position.
Get in here, quick! Keep moving! Head for the roof!
Dr. Freeman, I presume.